Hi, hello, welcome back to episode 4 of my Paint Along series. I'm excited to have you back. Today we're back in the studio having some fun, and as always, I encourage you to paint along and email me your paintings as we embark on another fun, exciting adventure, painting my doll collection. So let's get into it. All right, composition time. Now I only want to use people I haven't used yet in the series. Got this guy. Could be good. Okay, wait. This could be good. These two. Who is this? Some of these characters. Oh, we've got another holder. Someone holding something. No, I think we've done this already. I think let's not have someone holding a head. Wow, this reminds me of that lady with the beehive hair from that Mousetrap movie. Wait, hold on. Screw all that stuff I just said. I just saw someone I've never seen before. Hold on, I have to unearth someone. Who is she? Oh, wow. Look. Look at this lady. Whoa. Okay, now where's my other beehive hair lady? Oh no. Her head came off. Gosh, I tell you, I think these dolls are from the 50s. Oh my gosh, I am obsessed. Look. Look at this. Incredible. This is it. I'm telling you right now. Okay, wait. I've had an EpiPen, and I actually think I'm going to do something else. I'm going to take this lady, right? But I'm going to put this guy as like a piggyback ride. Excellent. Excellent. Hell yeah. Excellent. That's it. I don't care who you are. That's it right there. Take a screenshot of that. I am so excited about this composition. So as always, there's some things here off screen you can't see. I've got a bucket of water for my brushes. And again, I'm just gonna use like 5 or 6 brushes. I think I have 2 large mediums, a large, and then a smattering of small brushes. But again, I'm not gonna go too crazy with detail brushes. You may if you like, but for my demo, I'm just gonna keep to the broader strokes, broader brushes. So I'm just trying to have fun and not get tied to having the perfect painting. So that's what this is about. It's about us practicing together. If you want to get better, just practice. And good work comes out of that process of play and experimentation and adaptation and trial and error. That's why failure is the best teacher, because it gives you more information about what doesn't work. And then the more you fail, the more you know what does work. So that's what we're about. Okay. I think I want to do a bright yellow sky. Something really loud to really complement this moment of a forced piggyback ride. So I'm going to take some of my lemon yellow, I'm going to take a sponge, which again I maintain is the best color for acrylic painting in terms of base coats. And we're going to get going. Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. And you know what, I'll show you how to do a gradient here too. Gradient is a smooth transition from one color to another. So we'll lay down our yellow. And then make sure I wet the whole canvas. And go back up one more time, make sure I get any of those lingering white areas. Yep, like that. Corner. Get the corners. See, I'm trying not to be lazy now so I don't cause problems for myself later. Okay. Yellow. Now I'm going to take my Cad Yellow, my warmer yellow. And again, all the paint that I use in this video is listed in the description, as well as the email link for you to send me your paintings. So, Cad Yellow, I'll load this up. And then from the bottom, I'm going to keep going back and forth. so that the stroke of my brush complements this sort of shifting pattern. I'm going to apply the most pressure down here, right? So completely changing the color to this. And then as I go up, I'm just going to start to lighten the pressure and go over it a few times. And you can see now a gradient is starting. And I can go back and forth as much as I need to get that more smooth look. If I put too much pressure, I get these like horizontal yellow lines. So I'm just going to do this. Now, this is also the kind of thing where it's nice if you can see what it looks like at a distance, but I'm just going to trust you to tell me that it looks perfect. So I'm going to get these lines off there a little more, maintaining the general same direction, and I've decided good enough. We've got a yellow gradient. Now I'm going to take my Venetian Red, and I'm just going to put on a little hill for my characters to be living on. Again, we're working back to front so that we don't have to go back and try to match or ruin any of the nice work that we do. So let's do, there we go, sure. Yeah, good, good, good. Yes, perfection. Excellent. So now for the fun part, the characters. Let's see, put my sponge away, look at the characters, pull in, give us a close-up. There's a lot happening here. I think I'm going to put the heads in first and then block in both sets of clothing. And then I'm just going to work back to front. So let's do that. I'm going to take my medium large yellow brush. No, just my medium large brush. And throw in some, oh, it's fire red. I actually want my magenta red. Magenta red just gives you a pinker face when you're doing the magenta and the white. Although I'll show you what they both look like. So the first face I'll do this magenta and white, and the other one I'll do the cad red, or I have fire red in this case. So I'm loading up my brush, not totally mixing it, and I'm actually mixing it with my brush too. Just a bit of a no-no if you don't want that mixed on look, but I'm fine with it because we're just doing something loose. So I'm looking, I'm trying to think how their clothing is going to be. I want their heads generally here and here. So I'm just going to lather this face on like that with an ear here and an ear there. Let's go over this one more time actually to push the ears back. There we go. This is going to be fun. Okay, so that's that. Now let me try the fire red so you can just see what that looks like. And I'll use a different brush too. So I'll set this brush aside. I'll pull most of the paint off of it and I'll drop it in my water so it stays activated so I can come back to it. Use my other brush. And what did I say? Fire red. So now magenta. Here we go. Good. Now let's see how different this ends up looking. I think a little different. Marginally different. Yeah, it's marginal, which means pretty close. Okay. I want to make sure I leave enough room for this incredibly tall hair, so I'm just going to say like that. And then block in an ear. Yes. And then let's also leave a little room for this incredible nose. Okay, good. This is going to be good. So let's now block in loosely the clothing. So if we pull in again and look at our figures one more time, we can see we've got this tan with black stripes shirt and navy pants on the figure in the air. And then we'll just do a light raw sienna for the dress shape. Okay. How do we get a light tan? Great question, team. The answer is Raw sienna with white, and then just a little blue and red. We're just gonna brown it a little bit, make it a little more brown. And I've already got this pink on my brush. All I have to do is add a little phthalo blue, for example. I should be able to mix something light that's a little more neutral. It's important in painting to not just use our colors right out of the tube to get that really saturated look, because you actually can make them shine more if you balance them with neutral colors. So by doing these more neutral clothing, other colors are going to really pop. So we want to pay attention to that. Okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is what I'm doing. I'm going to do silly, good. Zhuzh that out there, yeah. Keep this pretty loose. It'll give it a good sense of motion. Yeah, good. Yeah, I think he's gonna fully, yeah. Good, 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 good. Pull that out. Okay, good. And then on the other side, there's gonna be a wrapping around of, there it is. Pushing with the tooth of my brush, getting that shape. And let's also have it kind of come out a little more. Just to let you know that it's a long shirt. And here we'll do same thing over here. So we have consistent long shirt energy. Ta-da! Already this is coming along pretty fast, which is great. So now, do I want the navy pants? No, I actually want to do the light raw sienna dress. So we're just going to take raw sienna, dollop of that, and then a larger dollop of titanium white. Give that a mixie. Do a bit of a mixie with that. And I need to make sure that it can distinguish itself enough from that other neutral shirt because they're similarly colored. So I think this is an exercise in looking. You have to really look to see what's happening. I think actually it's going to end up being something like that. And make sure I'm giving it that little waviness that a dress has. Make sure my lines go all the way down so it really feels like a dress. Style lines. Okay, so now I'm just going to use the raw sienna straight up to put in the top of this dress. Pull all this paint off of here. Oh my, it's a lot of paint. Actually, I'm going to go down a brush size to my medium brush. And now we're just going to lather on some raw sienna. So I'm looking, trying to see the top of this dress. We're going to come around like this. And it's going to allow us to define what's here. This is why we do all the underpainting first. It's kind of going to save us a lot of time later. Okay, ready? Let's go around like that, pull that back in. Right, now I've got clear delineations. And she's also got these arms. I'm thinking I want to give a little bit to that. So let's see if we can grab like that. It's going to make this more dynamic too. I have their arms in front and behind each other. I think there we go. Good. Okay, let's do the navy pants now, and then we'll go in with second layers. So pull all the paint off my medium brush. I reuse the medium brush. navy. I can mix a proper navy, which is pretty close to black. But I'm actually just going to use mostly phthalo blue with a little Venetian red in it to dull it down a little. And that will give us more or less a navy. It'll be more navy the more I dull it with Venetian red. But I'm going to leave this mostly phthalo blue because phthalo blue is a pretty strong color. So, okay, looking one more time, thinking that there's this leg. So this will be easy. Ready? Doodle-loop. Doodle-loop. Sort of just let that sit there. But then this other leg is really doing a lot. This other leg is telling me that lots happening. There's like a whole hiney here, right? And yeah, see that? I'll make sure we move with the brush so it'll do work for us. Oh no. Okay. And then from there, I'm just gonna slash across a little bit of the color I was just using for some socks. Boop, boop. And then we are gonna add more Venetian red now to put some shoes on this area. So we'll just be done with this area straight up. I'm not even gonna mix it all the way. Pop this in like that. Great, good. Great, good, got it. Okay. Now, do I need this color for anything else? Not really. Okay. Okay, good. So, first layer, done. We have a basic figure situation, basic ground environment. Now we're gonna do second coats. I'm gonna start with this head and do everything behind this main figure, and then we're gonna go in. So we're gonna start with this guy. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, I'm seeing some raw sienna hair. Actually, let's just do, I think it would be better to make their hair color different. So we're just gonna do some Venetian red hair. And of course, this is an exercise in looking and seeing and applying. So I'm just gonna look at what's here, and I'm just gonna decide some little sideburn mutton chop action. And the further your hand is away from the stem of the brush, the less control you have. So I'm gonna lean into that so that the looseness actually sort of makes the hair look more organic and less forced. So I'm varying my pressure, varying my kinds of brush movements, and different eyebrows, dark eyebrows. So we're gonna put these in. Ready? Here we go. Let's just find a place like there. Yeah, good. Now I'm gonna go back in with this like navy that I mixed, because again, our dolls always have this like these lines drawn on them. So I'm looking and I'm thinking I just use some thin ones across. Yeah, I get sort of that, and then sort of a thing here. Oh, cheese and rice. Okay. Yep. Some basic. There we go. And then there's even some drawings on the ears. Even the ears have been aggressively drawn in. So let's honor that. Oh, well, I don't know what we're making, but we're having fun. Okay. So let's define the chin before we get too into this face. So all I have to do is go back to my magenta red or cad red white and just make it a little more magenta-y. I have to separate them just a little bit. Ready? So watch. All we have to do is like something like that. And then That totally separates everything for us. So we're just gonna leave that. Now, in past videos, what I have done is I've gone in with a darker color and a lighter color to really sculpt the face, but I've already kind of done that. I've given some definition to this face with my initial brushwork, so I'm just gonna do highlights this time instead of the low light highlight thing. So I've loaded up my brush. Where do we think the sun is? Where's the sun? I think we'll just do a general sort of like top down, which means light's coming this way. So let's do something like this. Let's grab this nose. There we go. Something like that. Yeah. 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 Sure. Sure. Now we won't be able to make heads or tails of this face until we do the classic eyeball thing, which for this time we're going to use some ultramarine since we've already been using so much phthalo blue. And then of course the red lipstick that these dolls are known for some ungodly reason. Let's just turn my brush. Oh no, so drippy. Okay. I almost don't feel like I need to go in and do anything else. I mean, I will. I'll grab a little bit of this light, but it's already so much there, you know. Just my finger, I'm just going to smear that a little. Oh no. Wait, we're going to leave that. Don't over mix it. Okay. Last thing with this face before we move on, we're going to throw some of the lipstick on there. It doesn't matter which one I use. I can use the magenta or the Cad Red. I'm going to use Cad Red. Ready? Oh, actually, there is somewhat of some teeth. There's something in here, so let's just throw something in there. Bump, bump, bump. Oh, gosh. I hope at home, for those of you who are attempting this, you're having as much fun as I am, because this is actually quite fun. Ready? Let's follow the line I already set for myself. Go in and there. Wow. Yikes. You know, this better not turn out to be my ultimate legacy, is these terrifying doll paintings. But won't know until the end. So we're just going to define this shirt quickly and throw some lines on there, and then we're going to go into our next figure. So let me show you. I like using larger brushes for this kind of thing because it stops you from becoming too precious with everything. So let me use some white, and I still have some of the original shirt color, but I'm just going to loosely blend it with the white so that there's some tooth to it. And so we've just decided that our cast light's coming from here, so we're just going to go like that, something like that, and then light pressure. Like there, and then over here, let's say starts here. Yeah, I'm not so happy with that, but I think it will change once I put the lines in. So let's just leave it. So got these lines. There we go. I'll make these lines a little lighter. So, okay, generally these are straight lines. So I can just do something like that. Now see, here's a part where this would have been better if I had done this before doing the pants. Because now I have to try to like not mess up my nice pants. This is why we work back to front. Okay, ready? Let's put a little shirt there. So we're gonna tell everybody, it's gonna be like a, there we go. And then look at that, okay. Now we're gonna have the lines go this way. So let's do this, this. I'm gonna go dark first. And then it's gonna mix on the brush. Ready, watch this. So it's already gonna look lighter. Yeah, that's giving some definition. You can tell where this garment generally lives. Let's put the hands, no, we're gonna wait for the hands. We need to put this figure in first. So now we're gonna move on to shirt of this figure and then the top one. So let's pull in again and look at what we're rocking with. I don't know, there's a pattern on this shirt and we can try to get that pattern perfectly tuned to what it was, or we can just wild out and just do some, I don't know, some like polka dots or something. And in fact, I've already decided. So we're just gonna give some definition to this garment to let you know it's different from everything else that's happening around it. You're gonna make prettier, more precise polka dots / whatever pattern you want, but for my purposes, I'm just gonna go in like this. Right, so now your eye's like, okay, separate garment from everything else around it that's happening. Oh, look, I've not done this arm. Okay, let's go back to it, doesn't matter. No need to panic. I can just paint over it. So let me go back to that color I was using so well. Let me just say, let's pull this around. So I'm gonna give some form to it. Not the craziest pressure. I'm just gonna do this. Yeah. And if I really want to push those back and make those more in shadow, then I can just go in again a little darker. So let's do that. I'll do that over here. So the further it is away from light, the darker it'll be. So let's just make this one a little darker. And then we'll leave those there. Maybe we'll peek this one out a little bit. But we're not gonna go too crazy. Okay, good. So let's now do the face. I think for this face we will put in some darker tones. So let me see, there's a bit, so there's some aggressive cheekbones. So we're gonna do cheekbone here, and that's also gonna come down. And we're just gonna define the ear like that, right? And then let's put some eye sockets in here. And then we'll just throw some shading on that corner. Ooh, okay. Highlights, let's put highlights on. So same deal, I'm just gonna use a lot more white. And I'm looking, I'm seeing that there's something prominent here. I can do this, this, over here, yeah. Catch the light a little here, but mostly up here is where it's gonna really matter. Oh, yes. Yes, good enough. Now for the fun part, we'll put the lines in. It's gonna do a lot of work for us already. So let's see. Yep, yep, yep. Oh, let's actually make these a lot more worried. If the eyebrows go up in the middle, that means we're worried. And since she's being trodden on, we're gonna lean into that. I'm also seeing that there's an attempt at some eyelashes. So put a couple of those in. And then a couple of beads for the nose. And there's actually a pretty small mouth. So we're just gonna do a slash there. Now, did I do highlights already? Yes. Okay. Let's do our red lipstick. Let's just throw the lipstick on real quick. Wait, do I even want a bottom lip? Okay, just a little one. Man, it's so much worse. Am I gonna change it? No. Okay, eyes. Eyes are a very bland raw sienna color. I think we're gonna change it and make these eyes, what color would really balance the whole thing? Let's go with some Cad Yellow. Some Cad Yellow. We did a little bit at the beginning, but haven't come back to it. So we're looking and we're looking, and we're just gonna find a spot, plop that in. Oh, yep. And now let's put the eyes up here. There we go. Now there's some real worry in there in those eyes. Good, so that's done. We're gonna do the hair now. I'm gonna go back up to a larger brush. And I'm seeing a similar color of the raw sienna hair. I did the Venetian Red hair for this one, so I shouldn't have any problem just throwing in my top bun with my raw sienna. Wow, we're getting pretty close already. This is great. Okay, ready? Loaded up brush, completely loaded. Okay, ready? We're gonna, okay, good. Yes. Oh. Okay, I actually need it to have more shape. It needs to have more of like a, yeah. And then there's gonna be another one here, right? Yes. Yes, let's bring this, let's give this a little more love. Good. In the original, it's covering the whole ear, but I like this better. So now I'm gonna come in with just a little Venetian Red on the brush. And I'm just gonna give it some form. I'm gonna like use the tooth of the brush to really do all my work for me. Ooh. It doesn't look great at this moment, but I'm gonna just keep painting and see if something happens that makes it work. You know, I actually think that's fine. And now if I wanna go in with an even brighter yellow and really round out that area, because again, the hair is the same thing. You work general to specific, larger brushes down to smaller brushes, mid-tones, then highlights, lowlights. Let's do, I don't know, just a little. Taking some of the raw sienna and just throwing some white on there with the goal of using the tooth of the brush to give a couple highlights since our light source is up here. So kind of like really light pressure. Okay. So last looks. I think it could be good if we gave a little bit of a shadow to this section. So I'm just gonna like imply a little something here. I was also gonna pull this forward a little more. But I also am gonna keep in mind that there's like this direction from the dress, right? So we can give form to the dress a little bit while we're doing that. Good. Now let's put both sets of hands in and then we're done. And hands, as you've seen with these dolls, is not too hard. I can just kind of follow where I've set my arms, right? So I've got, wherever I see I've got arms, I can plop them in there. Same thing for this lady. She's saying, get off of me. Get off. Where's her other arm? It's here. All right, we're pushing and pulling. Now we have a lot better sense of space now we've put stuff in front of other stuff. Now I'm gonna come in with highlights. So that means like that, and then here, like that. And I don't love this. Let's push that out. There we go, that looks better. Well, let's just push the whole thing out like that. That looks much better. And if I wanted to highlight these, I could push in even more. So let's do that. I'm gonna go darker again, and then just really define where there's not light coming in. Clean my brush, make it just red. Right? So I can push and pull as much as I want to tell you in your eye where there is light and where there is not light. Oh, and also let's define her neck. That's the last thing we'll do. We defined this neck, but not this one. We're just gonna come in a little bit here, grab that. That really pushes it out, doesn't it? Okay, one more thing, one last thing. I said we were done with the shoes, but let's come back in and just give these a little more form. I'm just gonna go back and forth, a little bit of that. Okay, and just like that, another week, another finished painting. Again, I would love to see yours. So feel free to email me. The email address is in the description. Send me your paintings for the chance to have them featured on a future video. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.